Lisi, we're ready to go. I mean, I feel like we need to kick it up a notch here.
What do you want to do?
Because we are an hour from kickoff.
I can't wait.
Right now, Joe, people are like stretching on the field, activities.
Yes,
the band is playing right now.
That 12 o'clock window is fantastic, by the way.
It is.
It is.
I'm excited for it. I'm excited.
I like
right
a lot of games at the 12 o'clock window.
Give me one. Give me your favorite game at 12.
Well,
not betting-wise, action-wise. Like, I got to watch this game at 12.
I want to see Notre Dame, Arkansas.
I
want to see.
He's in, people. He's in.
I'll tell you another game.
Dame.
It's under. I want to see Duke and Syracuse at 12:45.
Nobody wants to see that game.
Stop.
I mean, there's people that we know that would like that game, but we don't want to watch that game. You know what I mean? We're not watching any of that game.
Ricky Collins?
Big game Saturday, Joe.
Okay,
I need your focus back for this. It's the SEC. It just means more. It's at night tonight. It's Sanford Stadium. It's Alabama. It's Georgia. It's a favorite by Georgia opening up this week, Joe. -4.5. Poof, they're gone. It's 2.5. Are people believing in Alabama, the football team, or Alabama, the brand?
I think both. And we talk about it. You know, Alabama hasn't been favored in the series dating back to 2020. Anytime Alabama typically is catching points outside of maybe Georgia, they win games, right? Nick Saban was notorious for that throughout his career and tenure in Tuscaloosa. But again, what is the identity of Alabama defensively, number one, and what is their offensive identity now with Ty Simpson? Because, again, the first road game that they played against Florida State, and we saw Florida State, lose last night, they did not perform well. Ryan Williams did not step up. That offense couldn't run the football consistently. And Ty Simpson, I keep going back, is not Jalen Milroe. Well, Jalen Milroe accounted for 20 rushing touchdowns last year.
Yeah.
He tore up both LSU and Georgia on the ground. When you can run the quarterback like that, that opens up play action. Do we believe Ty Simpson is going to have that type of success on the road against this defense in Georgia? And I understand Joey Aguilar and that offense for Tennessee stretched them vertically, but that's a much different offense than what we see out of Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. Receivers, edge, Bama, Williams and Bernard over the group for Georgia, but I still buy into Colby Young, Zachariah Branch, Delp, and Lawson is at tight end. This is a back-and-forth affair, but I love Georgia. 33-game home winning streak. I'm rolling with the Dogs.
Let's get that graphic back up for Ty Simpson, because I want to bring something up here. When we look at the quarterbacks, like Gunnar Stockton versus Ty Simpson, you see that price point, Joe?
Yeah.
269.5. Do you know what is live right now? 276.5. People are buying Ty Simpson in this game to have a big effort. So, again, it's not just you're pitting the quarterbacks back, because we're handicappers at times, right? Gunnar Stockton, 216.5. Ty Simpson, 276.5 as that new number. If I gave you one bet right now on either one of those quarterbacks to throw for more yards than they're expected, who is that guy?
That has to be Ty Simpson. And the reason why I say, but this is why. Because he is a better pocket passer than Jalen Milroe is. They need to attack Georgia over the top because, again, I don't believe Alabama's going to line it up with Jam Miller coming back and run for 175 or 200 in this game without the quarterback accounting for that, right? And that is the difference. That means Ty Simpson's going to be in, the pocket, throwing the football to Bernard and Williams from a pocket presence, and that's where I think he could step up. And he could potentially throw for 300. And if he's coming from behind in that type of situation, I favor Ty Simpson passing yards over Gunnar Stockton. The rushing attack for Georgia is much more important for this matchup, and I mean between the tackles with Nate Frazier and the offensive line. It's more imperative, in my opinion, for Georgia to attack Alabama's front seven on the ground.
Let's look at some of those running back props here in this game, because typically when you take a look at a game like this, you say, okay, there's going to be a lot of points scored. Usually the running backs are going to have a very good day. How about the high man on the totem pole is Nate Frazier, good running back, only 53.5 yards. Jam Miller coming back, only 38.5 yards, Joe. So if we're looking at that running back position on either side, UGA or Alabama, is there a guy that you like today?
It's Frazier. Again, when you look at big matchups last year, even though Trevor Etienne didn't step up with a great season per se last year, the game that they went on the road to Texas and they had to run the football, he had his best performance with 3 rushing touchdowns and almost 80 yards on the ground. That's what Kirby Smart does in potentially big matchups. I think Nate Frazier's the guy. He utilized them in the overtime against Tennessee. And if those hog mollies, those fronts, the offensive line gets a push, he's not going to deviate from that because this Alabama front seven's given up $138 on the ground. They gave up $240 to Florida State week 1.
Take a look at that wide receiver position. I always like Zachariah Branch, the kid come over from USC. He's listed, Joe, 45.5, but he's not the top man on the totem pole. Jeremy Bernard, 64.5, but Ryan Williams, 65.5, the superstar young wide receiver for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And sort of ties into a correlation, right, Joe? You're looking at Simpson having having a big game. Somebody's going to have a big game at the wide receiver position for Bama.
It's both Bernard. He's been the security blanket. He's been the go-to guy early, and then it's been Ryan Williams. If you go to last year, Ryan Williams had one of his best performances, over 100 yards. The 75-yard touchdown. Maybe he comes in confident in this matchup, knowing that he matches up against the secondary of Georgia. So I would give the edge to Williams in this matchup.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean Bernard can't get over his number. Put it this way. They both have to potentially get near their number for Alabama to have a shot. And I told you, Simpson over Stockton. So I like Williams to potentially get over his number and maybe even score a touchdown.
We love ourselves some touchdown props here. How about some pay dirt picks? And for me, I'm telling you, Jam Miller hasn't played yet this year. That was a big injury when they announced that late in training camp of he's not going to start the season. And you saw it really affected them when it came down to that game at Florida State. I love Jam Miller. I took the -125, Joe. I just feel like, and I'm not talking about from a game-changing perspective. They're inside the 5-yard line. He's getting the football. He's going to score a touchdown tonight. I love my guy, Jam.
Well, Jam is if they're going to run it, it'll be Jam Miller. Again, maybe Ty Simpson hits pay dirt for Alabama on the ground, but Jam Miller's playing in this game to be a factor, right? I'm going to go tight ends. I love the tight ends in these games, but not for Alabama. I'm going to Georgia. I'm going Lawson, and I'm going Delp. Both of those guys with deep value.
Look at those.
Deep value for the dogs. Those dogs, baby, they're going to be barking today.
Lawson Lucky, +650. Oscar Delp, 9-1 price to score a touchdown tonight. Now, I know you like to do this as well.
Go ahead.
You take a look at both of these quarterbacks. They had a little bit of mobility.
Yeah.
If I had to give you one quarterback today that pushes it into the end zone himself, it's like, yes.
Stockton. He did it again. He did it against Tennessee.
+105. Ooh, man, he's expected to score today.
He is.
Are we going Ty Simpson +220?
Nah.
Come on now. You know you're a price point guy. +220 out there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I'll tell you what. Ty Simpson, they need him, right? He doesn't run it like Jalen Milroe. If you're Kalen DeBoer, are you going to expose him to potentially multiple hits down on the goal line? That maybe on a 2-yard rush or something like that, but I would still buy in more with Stockton. He's a little bit bigger, and he's a riverboat gambler, so give me Stockton at +105.
Now, you're looking at this game, too, and the price point, again, is under a field goal. You're asking this team to say, just win the football game primarily. I'm not saying a 31-30 final at that point. But Sanford Stadium is going to be rocking tonight. I just feel, because I asked you this question to start this segment.
Yeah.
Are we betting the Alabama brand, though? Because, again, they have the players. You know they do. They didn't show up against Florida State. It's almost like we're giving them a mulligan. They played 2 bad football teams, beat them. They're like, oh, they're back. And, Joe, they're not getting 7.5. It's like, just play close. They're expected to win this football game if you want to cover this football game.
Yeah, so, again, I think it's brand. I think any time the public sees Bama as a dog, they're going to take it up. But they haven't been favored in the series in basically 4 or 5 seasons since 2020. That just shows you. Are we buying in that DeBoer is a better coach than Saban? I don't believe that in any capacity. Nope. I don't believe he's a better head coach than Kirby Smart. You want to give me the better coach with the home field advantage and potentially the better defense entering this matchup. I'm going to lay it. I'm going to lay the 2.5. And again, that doesn't mean Alabama can't win. It's just that we're looking at it objectively. I think it's going to be they're going to have to play their A-plus effort, Bama, to potentially win this game out. And the first game of the year, they didn't do that.
Look, you're in a no-win situation when you coach Alabama post Nick Saban at this point. Same way when Bear Bryant retired. Like, oh, nobody wants that job at this point. But answer me this. If Kalen DeBoer is out at the end of the year, who would take that job?
Gruden, somebody like that, polarizing.
Like you need a guy with the toughest skin.
I said it last year. They should, instead of going Kalen DeBoer, throw the kitchen sink at Lane Kiffin. Again, there were the off-the-field allegations and what he did during Saban. That's why they didn't. They're going to be kicking themselves.
Tough scene here, but we're going to get some good football games on the way. Going to the Grove in the SEC next. Joe Lisi, Donnie, Rightside.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Donnie, the season is 6 months, 5 if you check out in September. You're going to have a bad month. The Yankees had a horrible month. That is true. But beyond that, their regular season looks okay. They're going to win their 90 games or maybe a little bit more and get to the postseason. What is everybody freaking out about?
Everybody freaks out. It's the Yankee tax and the Yankee fan tax as well, where every single season you enter into the equation going like, it's championship or bust.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Remember these names: A.Z. Fudd, Olivia Miles, Lauren Betts. Depending on who wins that lottery, that's going to depend on who goes what. If Washington wins, it's Fudd. She's from the area. If Dallas wins, they're going to bring Fudd to play with, obviously, Paige. If Minnesota wins, I think they go Miles with the point. If Seattle wins, they go with Miles, and the same thing with Chicago.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
I was looking at it through my phone at first. I'm like, why is there such a delay? And why are we getting pitch hitters right away? Oh, the pitcher got thrown out for some reason. Maybe he hurt himself. But no, turning out and seeing a brawl was absolutely hilarious to let that one play out. Just the way it is sometimes in baseball. We don't get a lot of good fights and a lot of good brawls and anger, specifically from two teams that aren't going to the playoffs. So good on them for showing that moxie last time. But it's good to see a little bit of a brawl and a little bit of that passion here.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Right back at it on SportsGrid. College football today. Donnie Rightside and Joe Lisi, 45 minutes away from kickoff. We catch you right up on everything you need to know before the foot hits the pigskin here. And when we're talking about some action in the SEC, Joe, we get down to business.
This is
it's LSU. It's Ole Miss. LSU was a favorite. Now they're not a favorite. Now money's coming back in on LSU. Down to 1.5 at some spots right here. A total of 57.5. Big game in the SEC, Joe.
Oh, baby. I'm all in on the Tigers. I think they're the more complete
what
offense.
A shocker.
Better defense. Yeah, I'm a
what
homer.
A shocker. Look,
I'm a homer. There I
hair,
am.
Elvis hair, jeans.
Look like an actor,
You do.
I tell you. I look like McConaughey.
My
I tell
goodness.
You, who's better looking, me or McConaughey?
That guy needs a sponsor, no doubt.
All right.
Yeah, let's go. I love it. Where was that when they celebrated the championship? Was that you handing out the money with Odell Beckham in the locker room, getting the boys in trouble?
No. 2019, they won a championship, Donnie. 15-0. Could be the best college football team ever.
Nobody remembers
I know
them.
people will talk about Miami Hurricanes in 2001.
Yep.
So there you go. That's it. But we'll see.
LSU. Well, coming into this game, like LSU needs a win. Of course they do. Ole Miss needs a win. Of course they do. Talk to me, though, why Ole Miss is now the favorite over LSU, Joe.
5 straight, the home team has won in the series. So, again, LSU opens as a 1.5-point road favorite in this matchup Sunday night. Money automatically comes in, and Trinidad Chambliss has been a great emergence for this Ole Miss offense. He accounts for 400 total yards, dynamic performances against Arkansas and Tulane in back-to-back weeks, rushes for 112 yards on the ground. That'll put pressure on LSU's defense. I will say he is an X factor in terms of the RPO game. Why? Because you look at LSU's defense last year. They struggled against Marcel Reed and Jalen Milroe in critical performances. Up until this point, the only mobile quarterback that they really faced was DJ Lagway. They can take Klubnik as well. This is going to put some strain on that defense, but they're only giving up 62 rushing yards per game, 27% third down defense. I like the playmakers for LSU a little bit better than Ole Miss. I'm not sold on the front seven for the Rebels. Last year, they allowed 80 rushing yards per game. This year, it's 190. That's a cause of concern, and I like Nussmeier, the veteran quarterback, on the road.
Take a look at some pay dirt picks in this game. We always love the touchdown props here. By the way, Lisi in the lead here, Joe. Minus 220 price. Almost expected to score a touchdown. You take a look at Chambliss, also a minus 132. Ole Miss guys at the top of that leaderboard for some pay dirt.
Well, think about it. Lane wants to push tempo and potentially get LSU, I believe, into a high-scoring game. Why? Because LSU right now has played to the under in a majority of their games. The big ones, Florida and Clemson respectively, it's been dead unders, right? So they've relied on that defense. People are saying Nussmeier's hurt. This offense doesn't look the same. If Ole Miss pushes tempo, Keywan Lacey, one of the most productive running backs in the SEC, does have 2 rushing touchdowns. We know about the versatility of Chambliss as well. But again, if we're looking who's going to score here, I look to the LSU side. I did take Garrett Nussmeier, 300-plus passing yards, 2+ passing touchdowns. I love Aaron Anderson. But I go to the tight ends. If you watched that game last year, Donnie, fourth quarter, he went to Mason Taylor early and often. I know Taylor's now playing for the Jets. But Bauer Sharp, Trey Green are in this lineup. They both are in the 20s for receiving yards. I like them both to go blow through their number and potentially be an anytime touchdown today.
How about a little rushing prop action in this one today? And actually, it's only listed Ole Miss, guys, and that's Lacey and Chambliss. 77.5 for Lacey, 52.5 years. We take a look at Chambliss. Is there a reason why, Joe, we're only getting props for one side here?
Yeah, Caden Durham, starting running back. The injury report comes out. Doubtful for this game. That means the freshman Harlan Berry, that's averaging well over 5 yards per carry, potentially could be in the lineup, but it's got to be Caleb Jackson as well. He's a veteran running back. He's big, bruiser, could catch the football out of the backfield. He can run it. And again, he's explosive if you give him opportunities. I think they feed him early in this game to see if they can get the rushing attack going. Caleb Jackson could be that guy.
If we're looking also at LSU and Ole Miss in this game, we just talked about how the odds have changed from a favorite, which was LSU, now over to Ole Miss. The total, Joe, opened up at 56.5, higher at 57.5. Like, this is like we used to always look at these LSU games like they're going to win this 18-6 at this point because it's great defense. Now it's turned into an offensive show. Is it all about the offense today when we take a look here in Mississippi?
No, well, I think it is in this matchup because, again, can that defense step up the way they did against Tulane? Tulane's a very good team. They're not elite at the wide receiver position. Jake Retzloff, I don't believe, is as good of a passer as Garrett Nussmeier. And, again, LSU has weapons. Nick Anderson, Barry and Brown, the 2 tight ends. You have Caleb Jackson. You have wide receivers that could stress this defense at every level, and that's going to be the matchup. I think if they're pushed into a higher game, LSU can respond in a big way. They just haven't been forced into that type of matchup by Florida and Clemson right now. But if Ole Miss is going to win, they're going to push tempo. Lane came out and said, take the over. He's telling everybody.
I love it.
52.5. I think it was 56.5 to your point. But he said take the over. Last year they got 55, so we'll see.
By the way, I'll tell you what was funny, too. I think it was the Kentucky game where he took the mic at the end of the game getting asked questions. Hey, sorry about that field goal to end. I know what I mean. I love the fact that he plays into that. Being the villain, he knows the spread. Spurrier used to know it as well. Because how do you keep your job long-term at a certain university? Keep the boosters happy. The boosters are always betting with the home team here. It's never bet, hey, let me not kick this field goal because I want to hurt the boosters and show them what the deal is. But by the way, look at this one prop here, Joe. Trinidad Chambliss, quarterback from Mississippi today. His over and under for passing and rushing yards is 315.5. We're expecting big things from this kid today.
So he puts up 400, right? And back-to-back weeks potentially. And you see the discount. That's the LSU Tigers defense. Can they contain him the way they did Klubnik? Klubnik was a very good runner. So was also DJ Lagway. But again, you're talking about 2 teams that aren't as explosive at the wide receiver position. Ole Miss has playmakers. Wallace is one of the best wide receivers in all FBS. Again, can he get there? I would lean to his under, or right under that, 315, because I do feel LSU is able to dictate the tempo. I think their passing attack will break out, and I think their defense is much better than people think right now.
You get a leg up there in the SEC with a big-time victory in this game, Joe. So I always like to ask you sometimes when we get these games, it's a really close spread. Total we expected to probably go over today. What shocks you in this one?
If LSU gets blown out, it would shock me. Last time they were there with Matt,
that would hurt you. That would hurt you to the core.
With Matt Corral, I think they lost that game as a 9-point dog, 31-17.
Yeah.
That was the last time a couple of years ago. They haven't covered in Oxford since 2017, so keep an eye out for that.
Can you buy in on any of these, Joe? To score 2 touchdowns today in this game. Lacey plus 220, Chambliss plus 430. The kid's rumbling into the end zone. Come on, 2 rushing, 2 passing?
No. Not happening today. All LSU. Go Tigers today.
No shade. By the way, cheering them on wearing jeans. That's just the way we get down to business right here at the SportsGrid Network. We got bigger things to deal with, Joe. That's Oregon. That's Penn State. That's coming up next.
Two favorites are still the 2 favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price, or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Talk to me. Who are some of the guys? What are the keys for a victory here?
Well, Joe, I mean, we have this one player. I mean, it's like having Tom Brady at quarterback in the Super Bowl. We've got Scotty Scheffler. I think the first key is that, and this is going to sound crazy, but I think we should play him in all 5 matches. I'm just throwing it out there. 15 wins in 2 years. We got to get him out there.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
They know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when the kick, go for 2, and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Everything changed at that point. They went and got Jonquel Jones, and they really had that triple threat monster team. That second year they lost in the WNBA Finals, 3-1 against the Las Vegas Aces. Year 3, they finally get over the top hump, and you can question whether they should have won the title with that foul call late in Game 5 that sent Breanna Stewart to the foul line.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
We're happy on the set here. It's Donnie Rightside and it's Joe Lisi. They're happy in Happy Valley because big-time college football invades State College, Pennsylvania. 100,000 plus wearing all white tonight to see their Penn State Nittany Lions get beat, Joe, or win this football game. Lining this one up, Penn State is a favorite. We've talked about just about every single game, Joe, on the card today. Line opened up. Here's where it sits. Total opened up. Here's where it sits. This game opened up at 3.5 points as a favorite towards the Nittany Lions, Joe. Today, still 3.5. Why is that?
Even money, I think. But now, people will say that people are loaded up on Oregon. I don't believe it. I just don't see it. Knowing how bad James Franklin has been against top 25 and top 10 competition, 4-20 overall, knowing that Oregon beat them in the Big Ten championship game handily, and that defense had no answers for Dylan Gabriel in that matchup. I just think you give the coaching advantage to Lanning, give the quarterback advantage, love him or hate him, to Drew Aller, just because he's experienced and he's at home, and that's the matchup why you're seeing 3.5. Now, I told you before, it's the lowest spread that Penn State is laid as a favorite. They've been dogs to Ohio State and Michigan, respectively, over the past decade, basically. But as a favorite, it's the lowest favorite total that we've seen Penn State lay since 2016 against Minnesota.
Let me ask you a question on this, because we are usually talking about Penn State can't win the big game. Oh, they're getting 6.5, they're getting 7. They never come up big in this environment. They're favorites. Does that change your mindset on what you think Penn State can do today? Because it's not like, oh, Penn State in the big football game, they can't win. They're favored to win this football game.
Right.
Joe.
But so, again, if you're asking me, put it this way, if it was Dylan Gabriel behind center, right?
Yeah.
Instead of Dante Moore, I wouldn't have a problem taking the 3.5. Yeah. Veteran quarterback on the road. Dante Moore, you could say he's experienced for the most part. This is his biggest game that he's played in his college career. He started as a freshman with Chip Kelly and UCLA, did not perform well. He claimed they didn't coach him up. He goes to Oregon. He learns behind Dylan Gabriel, but he didn't play last year. And then his first road game, he went on the road to Northwestern. They won but didn't cover. This is going to be a different animal going into state. I've been there. I was with Coach Bowden back in 2014, 110,000 fans, where Coach Bowden almost covered the number that day. Jesse James killed him in the fourth quarter. He scored a touchdown. Otherwise, Akron covers this. I think a 16.5-point dog that day.
As right as rain, Joe, and as the sun will come up tomorrow morning for us all. Nicholas Singleton will score a touchdown in this football game. Minus 155. There's some things you ought to look at each and every week and say, how does this not happen? And I've actually been on the train, and rightfully so, where I think James Franklin, when you get wired inside his head, he knows he has 2-star running backs. You know what he does?
He's got to use them.
You get one, I get one. You get one, I get one. Now, I do think both of them score a touchdown today, but if I had to pick just one, Nicholas Singleton scores a touchdown for me.
It's a good look. He's been dominant. We talk about Penn State averaging 193 rushing yards per game, 5.5 yards per rush. I like Allen on the ground for yards, but they utilize both of them in the screen game as well. That might be an area to look at when you look at just receiving totals in this game. You know, people are going to look to Pena and the wide receivers in this matchup for Drew Aller. If they take that away, it's secondary options. And we know he loves the tight end, but he also likes the running backs as well. So that's the way I would look in this matchup. I don't love so much Drew Aller to potentially light it up for 300 yards.
We're going to go over
But he did have success. If you want to take him for a couple of passing touchdowns, it's not a bad look.
Now, like when we talk about like big game situations, I remember like J.J. McCarthy coming into the NFL with Michigan. Hey, what was great about him? Well, they didn't let him throw a pass in that Penn State. You know what I mean? Like that's what I get back to. And if Drew Aller is supposed to be moving up the leaderboards here to be the number 1 overall pick, Joe, against Oregon, why is he only 2? Don't tell me the running backs are that good where Drew Aller can't throw for more than 215.
It's offensive scheme. It's offensive philosophy. Again, let me ask you this. Has Penn State, even going back to the days with O.J. McDuffie, have they ever had elite wide receiver talent? Do they have guys that can spread you, deep and take the top off?
Who was it, Derek Williams? Who was that, those early 2000s?
Well, Chaffee Fields they had.
Chaffee Fields in the 90s. My goodness, man. Big touchdown against Miami in the Orange Bowl. They've had that one.
I mean, Jahan Dotson of recent notice. But again, it's been it's always one guy, Parker Washington. It's always they don't have 5 or 6 guys that they can roll out there.
How about Godwin?
Godwin's
there you go.
Yeah, I don't know.
Jury's still out there on that guy?
Does it move the needle? Was it Mike Irvin back in the day? I mean, my point is that's why Drew Aller struggles. Again, short to intermediate throws. Yeah, he can make when the rushing attack is gaining yards. Penn State's effective in the passing attack.
Let me ask you a question about this, too, Joe. Receiving yards in this game, they're low across the board. More for Oregon, 48.5 is the leader in the clubhouse. There's so many guys on. Is there one guy that you say, you know what, he could have a big day today? Somebody's got to catch passes.
I would go with the 2 number ones. This is an opportunity for both Dante Moore and Drew Aller to step up. Pena's got to get through his number. I like Pena and Moore for both of those.
Say it with me, people. There's Lisi's card right there. Oh, he likes Penn State.
I don't like this game.
That's a shocker right there.
I did waffle back and forth with this game. I'm not big on the props.
I like the way you played it because if it loses, no big deal. If it wins, you get credit for it. That's the way you play it. I love to see it here. More action on the way, which includes Heisman's. You know it's Carson Beck, people. You know it is. Come on back. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and quite frankly, he doesn't get enough grace, I should say, for saying, I win football games. Like, what would you rather? We go play Mahomes, oh, man, 41-40, Hurts, 375, 4 touchdowns, they lost. Boy, that guy's good. Or no, hey, you know what? I'm going to play within myself. I'm not going to turn the football over. I'm going to play within the game script here, and we're just going to win. Doesn't matter who gets the accolades.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Biggest games, the biggest bets that you need to know. So much fun already, Joe.
I'm having a good time.
Of information now.
Yeah. Good games, not great, but again, it's college football. You can bet on them, nothing better.
Bet it, win. By the way, and I always like to say this, and it's true. Like, you can have the worst game in the world. You cash your ticket, it's like a Picasso. Like, that game was the best game I ever watched in my life.
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Especially when you're hitting parlays.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
2 favorites are still the 2 favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a 2-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid college football today. Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi. Saturday countdown to kickoff. Joe, about a half hour away from this college football day, and it is a sensational one. Now, when we talk about, Joe, the biggest games, the biggest players, the biggest prop bets, the biggest bets overall, you know who has to deliver? The biggest players in those games. And the biggest players, what do they get at the end of the season if they perform in the biggest moments? That's the Heisman Trophy, Joe. Yeah. So the Heisman Trophy, we're not even through the month of September, but we're starting to separate ourselves here. And by the way, the leader right now in the clubhouse in the odds market is Fernando Mendoza. I'm telling you right now, college football purists, yep, absolutely know that guy. Fantastic. He's a great quarterback. Non-purists who are tuning in just for the biggest games, who is this guy, Joe, and how did he get here?
Well, he came from Cal. He's a mobile kid. He's big. He's about 6'3", about 220. He's a gutty kid and had a great performance for Kirk Cignetti. I can't believe that Illinois-Indiana game was the game changer for everybody. I understand he had a great performance, completes 91% of his passes, 292, 5 touchdowns through the air. I believe he's thrown for 15-plus touchdowns and 1 interception. So I get that, but come on. I mean, you know.
How did he get here, Joe?
I mean, we talk about primetime performers, right? And that was the big night game for the most part, where a lot of people thought Brett Bielema and the Illini were the dark horse to win the Big Ten, and Kirk Cignetti and Mendoza stepped up and said, not so fast, we're going to smack you in the face, and they beat him down into the ground. So that's why you're seeing the overreaction. Do I believe Fernando Mendoza is going to be there come the second week of November? Absolutely not. So that's why there is value in this market.
Hey, take a look at some of the other guys. And usually we think of it as like, okay, what's the best quarterback in this marketplace? But how about Jeremiah Smith, wide receiver, Ohio State, Joe, coming in at 10-1. He's in number 2 position as a wide receiver.
So we haven't seen a wide receiver win it since Devontae Smith, right? But he came on in the second half of the year. He's got a top performer against Washington, a defense that's only given up around 185 passing yards per game. They're going to be challenged today. Could Smith do enough today if, like, he goes off for $150, $175, and Ohio State wins? He might go from 10-1. Now, he was 11-1, I believe, on Monday night. But is he going to go down to 4-1? No, I don't think so, Donnie, because of the other games. The Georgia game, the LSU game, the other marquee games, the Penn State game. So whoever overperforms in those games, I think will have the most gap. They'll close the gap the most, as opposed to Jeremiah Smith.
Now, we're looking at some of these big games, because that's a lot of the times where the public, Joe, finally gets a feel like, wow, big game performance, big game here. I got to vault him up. Now, we are talking about Happy Valley tonight. Great game between Oregon and Penn State. Yes, we know we have talented running backs on the Penn State side, but understand this. Dante Moore is actually an 11-1 price right now to win the Heisman. He's the quarterback of Oregon. Drew Aller, 25-1. Let's just say Drew Aller, Joe, 275, 3 touchdown passes, a win over Oregon. He vaults higher, and the same price there for Dante Moore at 11-1, Joe. Let's just say if we look at Jeremiah Smith. Okay, Ohio State wins that football game, but he has 75 yards. Doesn't really break the bank. Fernando Mendoza, he's Indiana. Like, if Dante Moore goes into State College tonight and has a big performance, will he be the leader, Joe, Monday morning for us?
It depends. Margin of victory. How does Aller perform? Is it a 35-34 win? Aller puts up 300. Dante Moore puts up 250 and gets 2 touchdowns. It's possible. It really comes down to the eye test, right? But I'll just say this when we talk about Drew Aller 25-1. On the flip side for Jeremiah Smith, right? If Washington, let's say somehow, some way, pulls the victory out, Damon Williams is 50-1 to potentially win the Heisman Trophy. If Washington's going to win, Williams is going to need a big day on the ground and through the air. They don't have a game, Donnie, outside like basically the year-end game against Oregon, where they get them in Seattle, and Michigan. They can run the table. Damon Williams could come flying up the draft, not just the draft boards, but he's not going to leave. He's a sophomore, but the Heisman odds to be that guy. So 50-1. If you think Washington is live today, Take Damon Williams at 50-1.
By the way, also, take a look at this, because we're going to get into some of our favorite guys, maybe some long shots I'll ask you about, Joe. But the reason why we're talking about Mendoza as the leader in the clubhouse is why. John Mateer down with that injury.
Yeah.
We don't know when he's coming back. Let's just call it a month at this point. He's sitting at 80-1. He's not going to win the Heisman because it's a statistics game. You miss 4 or 5 games, you're not going to win. I don't care if Oklahoma's still hanging in and ends up winning a national championship. But Mateer, before he got injured, Joe, man, he looked like a good player.
He was 10-1, Donnie. Yeah. He went from 10-1 to the injury happens on, I believe, Tuesday, right? They announced he goes from 10-1 Tuesday morning to 100-1 that night, and they brought him back down. The reason why they brought Mateer back down from 100-1 is because he's supposed to be on schedule to play against Texas. Now, you tell me, it's a thumb on his throwing hand.
Yeah.
And he had surgery on it. Do we think he's going to be 100% against Texas? Absolutely not. So no shot for Mateer. Unfortunately, he can maybe lead this team to a college football playoff appearance, but the 80-1, I think, throw it away.
Couple big wins under his belt. That's Carson Beck coming over from the University of Georgia. Injury here, unceremoniously, basically, hey, thanks for your time here, but good luck wherever you go. Got paid by Miami, and he's paying them back. A couple marquee wins already for him. He's a 13-1 price, Joe. Moving forward for Beck, which, again, is my guy. I root for the University of Miami. I think he's been fantastic so far. Are the numbers going to be enough for Carson Beck to win the Heisman Trophy when it's all said and done?
Are the games going to be enough, Donnie?
Yeah.
He's got his best thing was having Florida State undefeated.
Oh, look at that picture.
So
look at that.
You look good.
Is that Dorsey? Am I Ken Dorsey looking like? Is that my old Dorsey jersey?
Yeah, it could be.
And by the way, Carson Beck must be 7 foot.
That was the last time Miami was relevant, though.
Stop it. And the last time LSU was relevant, too. You know what I mean? Way back.
But that's the thing. He needs those games.
Yeah.
If he beats Cal, if he beats Boston College, is that going to move the needle? Yeah. If Miami's undefeated, he's still going to be in the conversation.
Yeah.
But where's the eye test going? When you throw up, he has no Michigans, he has no Ohio States.
Yep.
That's the problem where the conference hurts you. Even if you get an undefeated team in the conference, it's not going to move the needle like some of the other guys, like Gunnar Stockton, my guy. If Gunnar Stockton goes out, he's 14-1, and he lights it up. And all of a sudden, they put up a 40 spot on Alabama. Yeah. And you know that you have games against Auburn and some of the other games. You have Georgia Tech on the schedule that up until this point is undefeated. That moves the needle for Gunnar Stockton at 14-1. The same thing with Nussmeier. Yeah. If you think LSU's going to win, Nussmeier at 15-1, Donnie. He plays Vandy undefeated, A&M undefeated. He's got a game with Alabama. So that body of work, if he could step up, is going to be there. And let's not forget, he was a Heisman Trophy frontrunner at the start of the year. He went from basically 9-1. He lost $6.
Yeah.
I would take him right now if you think LSU's going to win.
You know what you love about this, too, when you look at the odds market? Typically in like other MVP races, let's call it, one guy is minus 100, the next guy is plus 850, and the other guy's 35-1. Like, Joe, you take a look at Mendoza, plus 850. Then you have 10-1, 11-1, 13-1, two 14-1s, 16-1, 17-1s all on top of it. But if we're going for down the card, guys that you might not be paying attention to, people that you should be, Joe, who's one of these guys that can climb in here and be like, you know what? I think he can win this thing.
Well, I said Damon Williams at 50-1. I mean, another player is Marcel Reed just because he's in the area 14-1. I mean, Aller's another guy. Aller at 25-1. If you buy into the fact that Penn State is legit, they're going to win this game tonight, and then they're going to walk into the horseshoe and knock around Julian Sayin in Ohio State, something that James Franklin hasn't really done since that.
Over there.
What was it, 2016 when he knocked them off? Then you buy Drew Aller at 25-1. That's a long ask. But, I mean, to me, schedule-wise, Damon Williams has the best value. 50-1, I like Washington with the points today. If they pull out the outright upset, they do have Oregon and not another top-ranked team last game of the regular season, and then Michigan, which is obviously another game where you would give them the edge. They beat Michigan last year. They have to go to the big house to do it, but that's another national stage game.
Can I sell you on Jeremiah Love at 100-1, Joe? 10 straight victories they'll have. Everybody will be back in on Notre Dame, and he could be the catalyst.
No. They didn't even get the ball against Miami.
He doesn't need to.
Come on.
They were setting it up saying, we can't win the first 2 games. Let's save these guys for the final 10.
If he runs for 300 today against Arkansas.
He might. Maybe I think Price might go for 3 bills today. By the way, keep an eye on that. But by the way, you know what I keep an eye on, Joe? All the games we're going to handicap and go over in the next 2 segments because closer to kickoff is what we like. The energy is high. It's almost here, people. Make sure you keep the dial right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's college football today. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and quite frankly, he doesn't get enough grace, I should say, for saying, I win football games. Like, what would you rather? We go play Mahomes, oh, man, 41-40, Hurts, 375, 4 touchdowns, they lost. Boy, that guy's good. Or no, hey, you know what? I'm going to play within myself. I'm not going to turn the football over. I'm going to play within the game script here, and we're just going to win. Doesn't matter who gets the accolades.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The biggest games, the biggest bets that you need to know. So much fun already, Joe. I feel like we got a good lot of information now.
Yeah. Good games, not great, but again, it's college football. You can bet on them, nothing better.
Bet it, win it. By the way, and I always like to say this, and it's true. Like, you can have the worst game in the world. You cash your ticket, it's like a Picasso. Like, that game was the best game I ever watched in my life.
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Especially when you're hitting parlays.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
2 favorites are still the 2 favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a 2-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
SportsGrid college football today, and sometimes you get like a retraction in the paper, right? It's like, you know what? We got to do maybe a little do-over at this point right now because Joe Lisi, the people out there, like I checked my phone and my watch was buzzing like, who does Lisi actually like in the Heisman? Does he like everybody, Joe?
Oh, stop. You're asking me 1,000 questions. I'm trying to answer them. I like Gunnar Stockton.
Come on.
I like Georgia tonight. I like Gunnar Stockton. I look fantastic,
now, is that
by the way.
jeans again?
Yeah, jeans again.
Yeah, I got an issue with this.
Why?
Come on now. You usually dress the jeans in your life.
If you're on the sidelines for the Hurricanes, you're wearing what?
Decked out. Me and Nevin Shapiro decked out over there.
Yeah, Nevin Shapiro loves calling out all the old-time Hurricanes. They haven't been... Right, Johnny would wear dress pants.
By the way, you got the hands in the pocket. Look at me. Do I have the one up or is it the thumb up? Like, if that's it. Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
I look cool.
By the way, who's another 14 out there, by the way? Who's another 14 used to play for Georgia? We know any of them?
Yeah, Mike Bobo.
Really?
Yeah.
Back in the day. How about Eric Zier? Was he 14?
No.
What was
Zier was 11, I believe. Or 10. 10. Eric Zier was 10.
All right, so the expectations tonight for your boy, Heisman Trophy. This catapults him into this.
I like the rushing attack, but I still think he could throw for 2+ touchdowns tonight.
I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I mean
nobody's watching that game
legit.
Tonight, it's going to be a good one.
He looked like a deer in the headlights against Notre Dame, but again, I think he steps up with a huge performance, and we'll see. Styles make fights. That's why I'm curious to see how Alabama does attack it without Milroe, because I don't think he has that advantage this year.
No, we need a graphic next week, Joe. Like, if I'm going to ask you this question, like we handicap, and it's like, okay, who's going to be your Heisman favorite? Who's going to win a football game, score a touchdown today? Highest ratings for a college football game today will be what game?
Ooh. I think the game that's going to garner the most would be Alabama, Georgia.
You know what? I should probably ask this differently.
But you know, that LSU Ole Miss game is going to move the needle.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, you have the two, I guess, let's just call it like the premier games of the day, which at 7:30. You can't, granted, yes, we do watch both of them with 2 TVs, but most people are like, hey, turn this one on the TV. So if I ask you this question to simplify it, Oregon, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia is head-to-head. Who gets the higher ratings in that game?
I think Georgia, because, again, they've played in the national championship.
What channels are they on, by the way? Because I'm assuming one is ESPN and one's going to be just on network TV?
Well, I think
Are they
Fox,
both network TV?
No, Fox for the big
that's
one.
Not, okay.
And then I think it's ABC for the other.
So, all right, toe-to-toe. Like to see where we're coming out now.
I think ABC has a triple header. I think today is Notre Dame, Arkansas.
Dr. Jackaroo.
Which is not bad. Notre Dame, Arkansas, Ole Miss, LSU, and then Georgia, Bama.
Let's get after it here. Now, let's get the people set, Joe. 15 minutes from kickoff here. Let's go down a list of these games, and particularly in chronological order.
Yeah.
I hate Notre Dame growing up my whole life, Joe. How am I a big fan of Notre Dame right now? They take on Arkansas. They're going to kick at 12 o'clock. And by the way, 6.5 now. 5.5s, 4.5s, and the price point, Joe, 64.5 right now at MGM. People are betting this to the over, meaning we could get close to 70 points, Joe. Somebody has to score. I love price in this game. I'm with
you. I love Notre Dame. It's one of my better picks of the week. I'm laying the 4.5 in this matchup. Also took Notre Dame with no spread, money line, and parlays. I got it at -176. It's -205 now across multiple books. I just think it's the rushing attack. Again, I go back to the defense so much for Arkansas, seeing how they wore down. They allowed over 200 rushing yards and 7 yards per carry in the fourth quarter against Memphis. They wore down, and now you have a coach on the hot seat. The fan base is upset. That's not a good recipe. Our kid's going to check out. I understand it's Notre Dame and they have that cachet. Hey, Arkansas wants to step up, and Taylon Green has the edge over C.J. Carr. But I don't think C.J. Carr has to throw it all that much. I think it comes down to the offensive line of Notre Dame. And I told you, Marcus Freeman last year, 8-1 on a neutral field or on the road. They played well week 1 against Miami. I think they run it. I think they win it by double digits.
Let's go. Running, going away. I want to see it here. Another victory for Notre Dame as we ramp up for a college football playoff attempt here for them. USC and Illinois. They're also going to kick off, Joe, at 12 o'clock, which means an early kickoff West Coast time for USC. This price point, 61.5 across the board, and it looks like we're close to a touchdown. I don't think we're going to get to that 7, but, Joe, 6.5 across the board right now. Head-the favorite now for SC over Illinois.
It is. We talk about the matchup. It's going to be the front 7 of USC. Can they shut down the run?
Yeah.
If they can't, Illinois is going to be live. Illinois came out flat. I expect a much better effort. I like Bielema as an underdog in this matchup. And again, the offensive line for Illinois has to protect Luke Altmaier. They've allowed 16 sacks on the year. We know USC has speed, and that Jaden Mayava and that team are going to stretch them over the top. But I still think it's blue-collar football, Big Ten style. That's where USC has struggled. I do not think Lincoln Riley, I'm sorry, is a good head coach. He's a great quarterback whisperer. He coaches from an offensive coordinator position, doesn't make halftime adjustments, and that's where I give the edge to Bielema. I don't like this game, but I would take the points with Illinois.
We didn't hit this one earlier, but sort of a best of the rest games show. Cal, Boston College, 6.5 point favorite now for BC over Cal. Cal again, West Coast team coming East Coast 3:30 game.
So last week, I like San Diego State plus the points. You talk about Justin Wilcox on the road or on a neutral field. Prior to the game last week, 6-13 over the last 3 years. He's now 6-14. They got shut out 34-0. They now go back on the road for an earlier kick in Boston College coming out of a bye week with Dylan Lonergan. Lonergan's number is 3-11.5. I don't think Boston College is a very good team. I think you'll get a much better effort out of JSN and this team right now in Cal. I think Cal wins it outright, but I like him to go over his total today.
How about this next one, Joe? LSU, Ole Miss, 3:30 center stage in the SEC. A 2.5 point favorite for Ole Miss, down to 1.5s and 1s, depending on where you're shopping at, going up against LSU in a total of 57.5. Two things, Joe. Who do you like in this game? Did you have to buy a plane ticket and a ticket to this game? What happened
No plane
here?
ticket. She's in New Orleans.
Woof,
She's in New Orleans tonight watching the game. So I'm not a homer. Home team has won in the series 5 straight. That's why you're seeing the fluctuation in the market. We saw it at as high as 2.5, and now 1.5 settling in. I got the veteran quarterback Nussmeier over either Austin Simmons or Trinidad Chambliss. I got the better playmakers, and I believe the much better defense. LSU versus Ole Miss's front 7. We talk about Ole Miss last year, number 1 ranked SEC rush defense, giving up 80 yards per game. They're allowing 190. Who has Ole Miss played that were just pumping them up? Tulane's good. They're not LSU good. LSU wins it outright.
Auburn and A&M didn't spend much time on this one earlier, Joe. 6.5 point favorite for Texas A&M at home, a 51.5 price point here. Auburn, can they pull off the upset on the road at A&M?
I think they can.
Ooh,
How about
okay.
this, Donnie?
All right.
Can we get over this total? It's back-to-back road games for the Auburn Tigers. I was more impressed with Auburn's defense in the game against John Mateer than I was with their offense. Jackson Arnold did throw for 220 in that matchup, but I would take the points. They won this game last year. I'm not sold on the physicality of A&M. They've given up a ton of points to inept offenses. It could be an over, but I like Auburn plus the points.
How about that? A couple more games to go here. One final segment to bring it up as we take you right through till kickoff here, which is our job on SportsGrid College Football today. Donnie, Rightside, Joe Lisi. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and quite frankly, he doesn't get enough grace, I should say, for saying, I win football games. Like, what would you rather? We go play Mahomes, oh, man, 41-40, Hurts, 375, 4 touchdowns, they lost. Boy, that guy's good. Or no, hey, you know what? I'm going to play within myself. I'm not going to turn the football over. I'm going to play within the game script here, and we're just going to win. Doesn't matter who gets the accolades.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
The biggest games, the biggest bets that you need to know. So much fun already, Joe. I feel like
I'm
we got
having a good
lot
time.
of information now.
Yeah. Good games, not great, but again, it's college football. You can bet on them, nothing better.
Bet it, win. By the way, and I always like to say this, and it's true. Like, you can have the worst game in the world. You cash your ticket, it's like a Picasso. That game was the best game I ever watched in my life.
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Especially when you're hitting parlays.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
What a 4-pack we have to end the show today and get you ready for kickoff, because we are roughly 5 minutes away. Donnie Rightside and Joe Lisi. We do it every single Saturday, and we're going to carry you through to the end of the season here. Let's get started. Ohio State going on the road to take on Washington. Husky Stadium, one of the best settings in college football you can possibly have. That place is going to be shaken. And maybe Jake Locker comes back for this one and rises here and brings them to a victory. Just kidding on that one, but an 8.5-point favorite for Ohio State.
I'm buying into the Huskies. Nap Kaufman, that Beano Bryant. Don't get me going. Tony Parrish, Loya Malloy.
Yeah.
Steve Entman. All right, there we go. There's the history on Washington. Here's the thing. Number 1 ranked third down offense in all of college football is Washington, converting 75% of their third down opportunities. I know Ohio State has the best defense with Caleb Downs, but this is going to be a different animal going on the road, and your quarterback in Julian Sayin, first true road start. This is not going to be easy. Ohio State might win, Donnie, but I'm going to take the 8.5. I like the Huskies and Damon Williams, their quarterback.
Taking the points, SEC action. Tennessee and Mississippi State show open up at 9.5, dipping down. We're seeing roughly around a -7 now, as you see the placard up there at 7.5. 62.5 as a prop here. Stark Vegas hosts Tennessee. But by the way, Tennessee, that big victory here. How are they hanging in the SEC now?
Well, they definitely
need a big victory.
They have to win
a big
out.
one.
No, when I say win out, they have to 2 games at most, right? 3 maybe.
Yeah.
But I think they have an upgrade at quarterback with Joey Aguilar. I will say this: the teams haven't played since 2012. So you just think about that. Prior to that, Peyton Manning's first career start came against Miss State back in 1994, taking over for Todd Helton. I'll say this: Blake Shapen, this team. Battle-tested, Jeff Lebby, they're blue-collar, they can run it. I lean to the under here, but I will take the points with Mississippi State, the Cowbells. This is going to be a difficult matchup for Tennessee. If they step up and cover this line, I'd be very impressed. They do have a speed advantage, but I'm going to take the points with the home dog.
Taking the points in the next game. Are we laying the points, Joe? Oregon taking on Penn State. Happy Valley today, -3.5. A total 53.5. Is Penn State going to finally be able to step up? But again, they are the favorite here. The expectation, they're supposed to win this game. Typically, they don't win this football game. Do they win this football game?
I think Penn State does win this football game. And again, it comes down to home field advantage. It comes down to the better, more mature quarterback. Again, I like Dante Moore. I don't love him. I don't love Drew Aller, but he should be able to step up here. If I had to bet this game, I would look to Penn State. I don't love it. We'll see how it plays out.
Say it with me. Singleton for a single touchdown today, Joe. He's getting in. Maybe first drive.
I like Allen on the ground today. But yards-wise. Yards-wise. You
just
like
did
him
that to me,
touchdown.
right? Yeah.
You like them
By the way, they're both scoring a touchdown. I just think Singleton's going to get in first in this game.
It can happen, Donnie. It wouldn't shock me. Again, we talk about they're going to need the rushing attack, and they dominated in that Big Ten championship. They rushed for well over 4.5 yards per carry.
Something I always wanted to see, Joe. I wanted to always go between the hedges. Like, being a Georgia football player had to be fantastic. Even in the 1980s when they weren't winning championships, it was always an awesome place to play, and this place is going to be rocking tonight. It's Alabama. It's Georgia. It's a 2.5-point number at most outlets right now, and a total that's listed at 53.5. Monster SEC football with so much on the line that if Alabama loses, it feels like the end of a legacy, doesn't it?
Well, it felt like an end of a legacy last year with Kalen DeBoer. You know, he was a good coach. Again, I understand success at Fresno State and Washington, but it wasn't a marquee name for the most part. And again, he could be like Brian Horson and some of the other coaches at Auburn where, you know, you're gone after just a couple of years. You need to have success at Alabama. It's like coaching the New York Yankees or coaching in a big media market. It's go big or go home. The problem is in this game, Georgia has the home field advantage with 33 games won straight in Athens. They have the better coach, I believe, Kirby Smart over DeBoer, and I think they have the better offense complete. I'm not sold on Ty Simpson. I'm just not. Bama's won 9 of the last 10, 4 of the last 5 by 11 points per game, but last year was solely won by Jalen Milroe. He's not there. I don't like Ty Simpson enough to buy into the 2.5. Gunnar Stockton and the crew break out.
Miami's not playing today for me, Joe, so I'm sitting back and relaxing here. They play Florida State next week. We'll certainly talk about it. There could have been a much bigger hype game if, you know, Florida State handled their business yesterday. Overall best bets on the day for us today. I love Jadarian Price. Like, my overall best bet is a backup running back. I'm telling you, watch this kid play football. 52.5 yards. Even if he doesn't make an appearance in the first quarter, you know he's going to get his drives, Joe. I expect a touchdown on him today, but I'd love him over 52.5 yards. If we're talking about close to 65 points, that means Notre Dame is running at will, Joe. Jadarian Price for me, 52.5 yards. I love that play today.
I'm with you because we don't talk before the show.
Yeah.
Really? About
we
college?
hate each other.
But I'm on Price, too. I altered him as high as 60+ in this matchup. I like Duke, minus the 4.5. Best bets for me, Notre Dame, LSU. I like Cal. I like Duke. And keep an eye out for them Hokies today out there in Raleigh.
Pry? What's the guy's name?
Pry's Brent Pry. First ACC
Look at that card for
game.
Lisi up there. Flash that card real quick for Lisi back up there again. We're ready to rock and roll. We did it today. 2 hours down the hatch. Now it's time for college football for Donnie Rightside, Joe Lisi. We will see you early next Saturday again. Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback, and quite frankly, he doesn't get enough grace, I should say, for saying, I win football games. Like, what would you rather? We go play Mahomes, oh, man, 41-40, Hurts, 375, 4 touchdowns, they lost. Boy, that guy's good. Or no, hey, you know what? I'm going to play within myself. I'm not going to turn the football over. I'm going to play within the game script here, and we're just going to win. Doesn't matter who gets the accolades.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Biggest games, the biggest bets that you need to know. So much fun already, Joe. I feel like we got a lot of information now.
Yeah. Good games, not great, but again, it's college football. You can bet on them, nothing better.
Bet it, win. By the way, and I always like to say this, and it's true. Like, you can have the worst game in the world. You cash your ticket, it's like a Picasso. Like, that game was the best game I ever watched in my life.
Are you kidding?
Exactly.
Especially when you're hitting parlays.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
Two favorites are still the two favorites. So for me, it's just whether or not you got Herbert at a better price or if you think there's a better price to get at this point. But I mean, with the way Josh Allen plays and generally Lamar Jackson, it still does appear to be a two-player race. The only thing, obviously, this is an injury league, Adam, and in the NFL, an injury that keeps you out 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden, those odds will shift.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid. It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.